Nothing is permanent except change. This is what life teaches us as well as the Stoics. Stoicism philosophy became more pragmatic in nature in the hands of the Romans. And fast forward into our modern times, the word Stoic has evolved into giving the meaning of unemotional. But ancient Stoics wasn't against emotions, they taught to control them through reasoning or logic. Stoic ethics teaches one must strive to be free from pathos through reasoning. Pathos is translated in our times as passion, but back then, it meant suffering or passively reacting to events. To some extent, it gives different meaning nowadays. By mastering our perception towards events both internal and external, we attain a clear judgment to take the right and effective actions. The Stoics teaches us to be aware of our circle and the extent of our influence. The circle that we can mold, and remold anything that exists inside of it, positively or negatively, by putting the right efforts into it, and gain the results, what we hoped for. If our circle of influence is greater, or even equal to our circle of concern, we tend to have a peaceful mind, and the actions we take are to be more effective. People that fall in this category tend to have a happy, anxious-free, and effective lives. For a moment, if they encounter issues beyond their circle of influence, they can prohibit their mind not to dwell on it for any longer. But if our circle of concern is greater than our influence, we tend to be more anxious, feeling helplessness, and living in the imagined reality of the future or the past. These feelings can make us even to lose the appetite to operate in our circle of influence. According to the Stoic, the ultimate control you have is over your mind, differentiating what is external and internal factors that make us to feel these emotions, and reorient our actions based on the power and the will we have to change the situations. The famous Stoic Epictetus said, I quote, "The chief task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself, which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Where then do I look for good and evil? Not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself, to the choices that are my own." In the era of the digital world, we are challenged every day to expand our circle of concern through different multi-billion-dollar media outlets, with little window of opportunities to expand our influence. The data we get may be helpful, it may create awareness about our environment, but it may be better for us to know our circle of influence, and control our concern, and make our choices wisely. Our generation is exposed to excess amount of information, unlike our predecessors. Differentiating them, and being selective on what we let in, is very important for our well-being. Clarifying this to ourselves based on which ones do I need, and on which ones did I spend more time, but I didn't make any significant impact. Addressing these questions can help us to be more proactive and have a sound mind. The famous historian Yuval Noah Harari sums it up, quote, "In the past, censorship worked by blocking the flow of information. In the 21st century, censorship works by flooding people with irrelevant information, so clarity is power." According to James Clear, a famous author and habit expert, a habit is a behavior that has been repeated multiple times to become automatic. Let's say one day, you get up and want to have some cup of coffee before breakfast. Later, you become more alert and extra productive at work. You notice the reward is high. As the days go by, and you kept going repeating this behavior, Then your brain starts rewiring. By trial and error, our brain doesn't want to respond for these repeated activities, such as where and what to put kind of questions, and wants to automate them. Along the way, we may explore to discover the best test, or the type which maximizes the reward, the best coffee maker which require little effort we put into it, or which reduce the frictions that exists between our response and the promised reward. Eventually, we found ourselves saying, from I like to have coffee to I have to have coffee, early in the morning. This is one of among various scenarios that we develop bad or good habits. But what if we want to decrease our habit of watching TV and develop our reading habit? Among the solutions, Mr. Clear proposed for the habits we want to remove from our lives, always make it harder to satisfy our craving, for example, by cleaning the living room before we start watching TV. For the habit we want to develop, make it attractive, and always minimize the friction or the effort we take by making it easily accessible as the remote control. The famous Stoic, Epictetus said, "Every habit and capability is confirmed and grows in its corresponding actions, walking by walking, and running by running. Therefore, if you want to do something, make a habit of it. If you don't want to do that, don't. But make a habit of something else instead." The same principle is at work in our state of mind. When you get angry, you've not only experienced that evil, but you've also reinforced a bad habit, adding fuel to the fire. Epictetus was born into slavery at Hierapolis, present-day Turkey. According to some sources, his legs had been deliberately broken by his master. But his disability didn't hold him back to fulfill his hunger for philosophy. With the permission of his wealthy master, he was able to study Stoic philosophy under Musonius Rufus, and he was able to reinvent himself and became among the major figures in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics teaches us to figure out where we are now and where we want to be, with complete plan and time frame, and like a wise sailor, we can make Stoicism our compass and map for self-control and temperance. It may not be a smooth ride, the forces that are out of our control may assist or slow us down, or even force us to change course. It is okay to do that. Between now and then, in the vastness of the ocean, we may also lose our direction or hope, but if we have the courage to ask for assistance, even the heavens can show us to which way to progress. Along the way, developing character and reputation, transforming ourselves from the inspired one to the inspiration one. Seneca on his moral letters sums it up: "Let us also produce some bold act of our own, and join the ranks of the most emulated."